It's a delight to be in a room with so many people. And this is my first event after 2.5 years, literally. So first of all, I want to thank ET Retail for organizing this. And also a very, very warm welcome to Dr. Jivisha Joshi from DPIIT, a lot of my colleagues, and the guests in this conference. I'm going to take a slightly different approach today. I'm sure a lot of us have read numbers about e-commerce, penetration, what would happen. And therefore, I wanted to start in a slightly different place. I grew up in a town called Jamshedpur, which a lot of you would have heard about. It's in Jharkhand. That's where the Tatas started their steel plant from. And when I was in class 11th, like a lot of students, I wanted to give my engineering exam. So I went to the bookstore in that city and said, I want these books. It was a list of 11 books, which a lot of people had recommended. And I paid in advance, and the shopkeeper said that the books will come in 10 to 12 days. Because what would happen is, he would source it from Calcutta. And there was a big notice outside the store, which said, everything will be sold on MRP, no exchange, no refund. So as a customer, God forbid if a wrong book came to me, there was no place I could go. That's 26 years ago, yeah, and I'm pretty old, as you can figure out. Today, if you are sitting in Jamshedpur, you take out your phone, log on to Amazon.in. You can buy, at last count, 12.6 crore products, unique products. Most of it would get delivered to you within 2 days. Most of our sellers sell below MRP. And by the way, you can exchange anything you want in the first 7 days or 30 days, depending on the category, no questions asked. And that's what e-commerce has done. Sometimes when you're in the middle of the change, you don't realize the change. And which is why I wanted to use the framework that today, sitting in any pin code in the country, you could order 12 crore plus unique products. Yeah, I mean, that is where e-commerce has come. I think the last 2 years have been very, very challenging for us, for everyone personally. All of us have got impacted. But something unique which I noticed in the last 2 years is we keep on talking about the entrepreneur, the small businessman in India. And the thing which I noticed working in an e-commerce company was the kind of resilience and innovation which sellers displayed. We have something called a digital Kendra in Surat, Kanpur. These are physical setups where sellers walk in and we train them on how to get themselves onboarded, how to make catalogs, can go up to how to do exports business in Amazon.in. And during the pandemic, after the first 12, 13 months, I went to that center and I was standing there, and this gentleman would have probably been 65, 70 years old, and this center is at the heart of the yard. For some of you in CPG, you know what the yard is. That's a wholesale market. Yeah, and this gentleman was walking out, and I generally asked him, how was your experience? I just wanted to take some feedback. And I'm going to say it in Hindi because that's how the message comes across. He said, Manish bhai, technology ab optional nahi hai, compulsory hai. And I was really touched. A 70-year-old gentleman who runs a wholesale business is actually so open to moving his business online. Yeah? And that is what the Indian entrepreneur is all about. A lot of people predicted a couple of decades back what would happen to the small retailer when organized trade comes. All of you know the small retailers are still there. They are thriving because of their ability to innovate, because of their resilience to the ups and downs which happen in any economy. Yeah? Now, fueling all of this is actually what we've managed to achieve in this country over the last couple of decades is the kind of digital penetration we have. I mean, today, I mean, look at the number of internet users. We have more internet users than the population of Europe. We have more phone users than, again, more than 1.5 times the population of Europe. We have more than 450 million people on various kind of social apps. Every day, more than 260 million transactions happen digitally. And a lot of it, I mean, if you have relatives who stay outside, and if they're coming back to India after 10 years, I can promise, when they walk into stores and see people doing digital payments, they are completely taken aback by the transformation. And that has provided a base for the growth of e-commerce in this country, the kind of digital penetration we have. There is a lot of debate, and I keep on reading articles about online versus offline. I used to be in a CPG company, and I've spent like more than 20 years servicing stores all across the country. And in my mind, this is a very sort of theoretical debate. There is no online, there is no offline. These are ways to reach your consumer. And sellers, brand owners, and distributors will adopt both to reach a larger set of customers. Depending on which report you refer to, right now the e-commerce industry is pegged at around $70 billion in the country. And all reports, I'm referring to NASSCOM for this number, predict that by 2030, this will be close to $350 billion. That's 5 times of where we are today. And all this growth will actually be driven by omni-channel, which is shopkeepers who actually have a store go online and start selling. Now, the pandemic in many ways accelerated this. Whether it's online shopping, digital payment, food delivery, OTT, it probably, I mean, when we look at our own penetration numbers, it fast-forwarded it by close to a decade. Yeah? So what would have taken 10 years in terms of reaching happened over those 2 years because of some of the constraints and the health concerns which people had. What have we done in this period? Today, we have around 11,40,000 sellers. So there are 11,40,000 people who sell on the marketplace, on A.in. We have 100 million plus customers. We have a very large base of prime customers. And what our job as a marketplace is to provide the infrastructure for sellers to come on, to provide the experience for consumers to come on. So over the last 9 years, we've been in this country for around 9 years, we built up a large infrastructure of close to 44 million cubic feet of storage. And we keep on building that so that we can get goods to our consumers faster and faster. We can get more sellers onboarded. Today, you can shop, if you're a customer in any part of the country, you can shop in close to 7 languages. Yeah? So what was 10 years back largely a phenomena in the metros, today 80% of our new customers come from small towns. Most of them use the app in their local languages. We have millions and millions of people who are now shopping using voice because they prefer that. On the seller side, again, more than half our sellers come from small places. And it's very, very heartening to see when you meet people, when you're on a market visit or when you have a seller conference. In its own small way, Amazon has helped over the last decade or 9 years that we've been there to bring people online. Shopkeepers come and tell you that earlier their market was limited to, say, a range of 2 to 3 kilometers. Yeah? So there is this furniture seller in Bangalore. And I was there and I was shopping for something for personal use. And he said, I'm also on Amazon, why don't you look it up? And I asked him, how come he's on Amazon? And he said, during the pandemic, the store was shut down. Someone from my sales team, from Amazon's sales team, requested him to come online. And today he does 4 times the business he used to do. So his shop is open. He still gets his physical customers who come from the locality. But he's saying it's actually changed the way he looked at business. He was thinking about opening another store near the Whitefield area, and he's saying, no, why would I open that? Because now I can ship everywhere. His smaller furniture pieces, sitting in Bangalore, he focuses just on the product. We do the cataloging, we do the logistics. By the way, he sells products in Middle East in 8 markets. We do the tax work, we do the shipping. So suddenly entrepreneurs sitting and focusing on what they were really good at, they didn't need to be worried about all the challenges of logistics, etc. Samir is here from ITC, and he also works in the CPG industry. I spent 25 years with HUL. Very rarely would new brands come in this country. So it was very difficult launching a brand in FMCG. Why was it difficult? Because first, you needed to advertise it, yeah? And therefore you needed a lot of money to do the advertising on national television. You needed a formidable distribution network to reach the millions and millions of small stores. So very few entrepreneurs would get into that area. At best, they would restrict themselves to regions. Today, I feel very good, and I don't know if there's someone from companies like Mamaearth, Wow, Boat. All these companies have started 6 years back. I still remember the Mamaearth person used to be someone who used to work with me, Varun and Ghazal, and they walked in and they said, we have a good idea. And we said, yeah, why don't you join Amazon Launchpad? We gave them AWS credit. We said we will do free cataloging, and we want entrepreneurs to start focusing on what they're good at, and we will take care of the rest of the challenges. The same is true for Boat. So there are so many unicorns which have actually come alive because of the marketplaces. And what happens is, you don't need distribution now. You don't need to advertise on national TV. I mean, the kind of ad products which e-commerce companies are making online, they are very, very effective, and they're performance-led. So you pay for what you get. So all you have to do is focus on what you're good at, and the product starts moving. Today, a lot of you would have heard about Khadi Gramodyog, KVIC. We work with them, and their Khadi soap does really, really well online. So no longer, if you stay in Delhi, most people know where the Khadi Gramodyog stores are because their soap is so popular, but you don't want to drive across. It takes a lot of time. Now suddenly it's one of our bestsellers online. There is a tea brand which got featured in Oprah Winfrey's show. Again, it's a Vadum Teas based out of India, went on to Amazon, and it's an awesome product, and people love it. So this whole concept of saying, as we, what can a digital marketplace, what can digitization do? It gives the power to every entrepreneur who has a good idea to actually launch it and scale it successfully. And therefore, e-commerce across, be it the normal sellers and the distributors, be it the unicorns, people with brilliant ideas who wanted a marketplace or a platform to launch it, or be it in terms of exports. This year, more than 100,000 sellers will export close to $2.5 billion of good into 200 countries around the world. And they have to do nothing. It takes 6 minutes to come, register on the global selling program, and then your listing will show up in every country which you wish to. People buy over there, and we take care of all the logistics. Yeah? So that's what Amazon and that's what other e-commerce companies are doing. It's giving a chance to every entrepreneur to realize their dreams. Yeah? And all of it has happened over the last 10 to 15 years, if you look around you. So as we, even if you look at where the government's vision of creating a $5 trillion economy, one of the big enablers to that is, of course, we need to get our manufacturing and product strategy right. And there's a lot of investment going, whether it's PLI on electronics and new categories. All large manufacturers are moving bases to India. I think the second part of it is the digital first. I firmly believe, based on whatever I have seen over the last 9 years in Amazon, that the going away of the digital divide. So you could be sitting in any part of the country and you could be a social media star. You could be, irrespective of the scale of your business and the kind of money power you have, you can launch new products. And yes, today a weaver in Orissa, he or she gets right money for their products because all of them now sell online. We have close to 260,000 people who work under the Amazon Karigar program. So suddenly, whether it's a one district, one product program of UP, whether it's the toy manufacturers next to Bangalore, everyone now takes their product online and gets fair value. And I think marketplaces like ourselves, in a small way, can actually help as we step forward to sort of make strides towards the $5 trillion vision which the government has. In Amazon, all of us continue to be very excited around the three things which we want to do. The first is we want to digitize 10 million small businesses across the country by 2025. We are roughly at 4.1 right now. Yeah? And this digitization does not mean you have to come and sell on Amazon. I mean, we are okay even if you sell elsewhere. But what happens is the flywheel keeps on moving as you digitize more businesses. The second is we believe, as one of the country's largest employers, we have close to 116,000 engineers, MBAs working with Amazon. But we believe we can give a far better and bigger impact on employment. And our vision is by 2025 to give an incremental 20 lakh jobs in this country, directly or indirectly. And the third is by 2025 to reach $20 billion of cumulative exports. And that's what keeps us excited at Amazon. And that's where we believe a lot of people sitting in this room, small businesses and MSMEs can benefit from. Yeah? So thank you for giving me this chance to share some of my thoughts. And I look forward to interacting with you through the day. Thank you.